Hello, grade 11s. Welcome back to the channel Science Therapy. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at algebra, question 1 and question 2. And without any further ado, let's just get right down to the lesson. Okay, so as I've previously stated in my videos, when you are given a situation like this, guys, there is no foiling that is involved here. All that you simply need to do is take each and every bracket and equate it to 0, and then you get your solutions just like that. So you have 2x minus 1 is equals to 0, or x plus 5 is equals to 0. So this one, if you transpose that -1, it becomes +1. Then you divide both sides by 2, so you have your x is equals to 1 over 2. Then here you just simply need to transpose this +5, it becomes -5. Then just like that, you have your 2 marks, right? Then let's proceed to this one here. So if you are given a situation like this, and then 2x squared minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0, there is our key statement there. It says, leave your answer in simplest sub form, right? So this is always a hint, guys, to tell us that we need to use the quadratic equation, right? So we have A is equals to 2, then your B is equals to -4, then your C is equals to 1. So now this is x is equals to -b plus minus, and then this is b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Then we know that we simply just need to substitute where we need to. Then we have our b. Then again here it's b. So you are substituting exactly as it appears. You have -4, so make sure you substitute it along with its sign. Then we have c over 2 multiplied by 2. Then what you want to do at this point is just simply punch this the way it appears in your calculator. And then there you go, you SD the answer, so it becomes x is equals to 1.71 if we are rounding off to 2 decimal places, because so the statement here, it's saying leave in simplest sub form. So we must leave it in sub form. So, okay. My mistake there for not reading the statement. So as in sub form, we have 2 plus √2 over 2, or x is equals to, then we know that we just simply need to change that one to a negative. Then our solution will be 2 minus √2 over 2, right? So there we go with our solutions. So you just leave it like that because this one did not say round off to at least 2 decimal places. So there's always that, leave your answer in simplest sub form or round off your answers to 2 decimal places. So always make sure you read that statement correctly. And then, yeah, that's it, guys. So let's proceed. 1.2 says, simplify without the use of a calculator the following expressions fully. So we are given 1.2.1, and then this is 125 to the exponent of 2 over 3. So now that we see that this is expressed in exponential form, we know that we are dealing with exponents, so we need to even write this 125 in terms of exponents. So one way to write 125 in terms of exponents is to say 5 to the exponent of 3. You can even do it with your calculator to confirm it, right? Then you have 2 over 3. So if you are doing that 125 equal and then shift fact, it will just write it as 5 to the exponent of 3, right? Then no one would be able to tell that you used a calculator anyway. Then the 3 cancels off with the 3. So you are left with 5 to the exponent of 2. And then this will give you 25. And just like that, you have your 2 marks, right? Then 1.2.2, we have suds, so 3 √2 minus 12, and then multiply that with 2 √2 plus 1. Then all that we have to do here is FOIL. So this multiplies with that, and then multiplies with that one, then like this and like that, right? So we have 3 root 2 multiplied by 2 root 2. This will give us 3 times 3, that's 6, but then root 2 times root 2, that's equals to 2 because the roots will cancel out. So that's 6 multiplied by 2, it should give us 12, right? And then if we take this multiplied by that, it will remain as positive 3 root 2. Then if you are saying negative 12 multiplied by this, that's minus 24 root 2. And then negative 12 multiplied by positive 1, that's minus 12. So the minus 12 and the minus 12 will obviously cancel out like that. Then we are left with this. But then remember, we treat these ones like terms. This is similar to you having 3x minus 24x. So in this situation, we know that you'd simply say, what is 3 minus 24? And then you'd get negative 21x. So also in this case, what you need to do is you'll get negative 21 root 2. Now, the nice thing about this, you can even confirm with your calculator. Just punch this the way it appears. So you can only just use your calculator to confirm your answers, right? Then just to check that you have calculated the correct solution, right? So it is definitely negative 21 root 2 if we punch this in our calculator. So we are correct. So remember, with this question's algebra, you don't even have to wait for the memo. You can just double check the answers on your own. Then now we are given this. So let's see. So now we are given x squared minus x minus x squared minus x minus 6 and then 3x minus 9. With these questions, I always say that you have to check what will cancel out with the denominator here. So if we are looking at this, we can see that it is possible to factorize this, since we have the last term 6, and then we can look for the factors of 6. When we multiply those factors, they must give us 6, but then when we subtract those factors, they must give us 1. So obviously those factors, it's 3 and 2. Then given the fact that our middle term is a negative, we know that 3 must be a negative, but the 2 here must be positive. But then looking at the denominator, we can see that there is a common factor in between these numbers here, because 3 can go into 3, and then 3 can also go into 9. So we can factor out this 3, then we are left with x, but then here we are left with minus 3. So this is what I always say, that always look out for that factor that will cancel out here. So if you are looking at this, you can see that x minus 3 can cancel out with x minus 3. So now you are left with x plus 2 over 3, right? Then in this question, so doing this, what was I doing? I was actually solving for 1.3.2, right? Because I just assumed that they will ask that question first. But then now they're saying for which values of x will the expression be undefined. Now with this question, guys, it's simple. All that you need to do for something to be undefined, or for an expression to be undefined, if you have an expression that is in a form of a fraction like this, we know that a fraction will be undefined if the denominator is equal to 0. So one way to find that is just to take this denominator and equate it to 0, then calculate the value of x for which this expression here, the denominator, will be equal to 0. So what do I mean by that? For 1.3.1, this is what I will simply do. 3x minus 9 is equals to 0. Then I will end up with 3x is equals to 9. Divide both sides by 3, and then x is equals to 3. So I know that if x is equals to 3, then this expression will be undefined. You can even try it with your calculator. Just put 3 wherever x is, and then also put it here, then if you put all this expression with x being substituted as 3, you will see that it will give you maths error in your calculator. That's what it means for an expression to be undefined. So it simply means when you punch it in your calculator, it must give you maths error, right? Then 1.3.2 says simplify the expression fully. So I've already done that. So this is how you do your 1.3.2. So I just happen to start with 1.3.2, right? So that's how you go about it. First, you factorize this x minus 3x plus 2. Then this one, the common factor is 3. Then 3 factored out x minus 3. Then this will cancel out, and then you are left with x plus 2 over 3, right? So it should be quite easy to understand. So guys, don't forget, if you are doing these questions along with me, you can just pause the video and then try to solve the question, and then just replay the video again so that you see if you are making any progress, right? So let's tackle question 2 now. So we are given this. It says x plus 2 and then bracket x minus 3 less than or less than negative 3x plus 2. So it says solve for x if this is less than that. So for this one, we must solve for x. So obviously, the first thing that we need to do with this one, we can see that this is in brackets. So we need to FOIL this. So do our FOIL method here. Then this will give us x squared. Then x plus that, it's minus 3x, then plus 2x, then minus 6 less than negative 3x plus 2. Then if we solve this, so that's x squared minus x, so negative 3x plus 2x. So let's just bring over the plus 3, the negative 3x, it will be plus 3x, then minus 6 minus 2. Then less than 0. So I brought everything from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. So this is x squared plus 2x minus 8 less than 0. So we can see that we are moving in the right direction because somewhere here they told us about this. So there's always that hint as to solving this, right? Then now we can try to factorize this. So this will be x plus 4. And then x minus 2. So if we are looking for the factors of 8, when you multiply them, they should give you negative 8. But then when you subtract them, they give you positive 2. That's the factors. Then because we are dealing with inequalities, we'll just write critical values. Then this should give us negative 4. It's the minimum value. Then this is positive 2, the maximum value. But then remember, when the sign is facing that direction, how do we write our inequality? Say the minimum value here, and then we put our x in here, then we put the 2 there. So when we read this, we say x greater than negative 4, but x less than positive 2, right? So it's x greater than negative 4, but x less than positive 2. So the values, the critical, the values that will satisfy this inequality are values that are within negative 4 and 2. So graphically, this is how we would represent that. So we put the negative 4 here, put the 2 here, and then shade this part here to indicate that the values that will satisfy this inequality are the values that are within the critical values, whereby the critical values are not included, right? The critical values are not included. So hence, we are not even shading here. So when we leave it like that and we are not shading, it tells you that the critical values are not part of the solution. Okay, so now that's how you would do that one. Then let's solve this one. Now it's saying hence or otherwise, determine the sum of all the integers satisfying the expression x squared plus 2x minus 8. Then less than 0. Now they're saying hence because already you have the solutions, right, for this one. Remember, our critical values were saying negative 2 to positive, negative 4 to positive 2 meant to say, and then we said this means all the integers that satisfy the equation are all the integers that are within these critical values, excluding the critical values themselves. So that means the integers that would be here, there would be -2, and then also there would be -2, and then there would be -1, there would be 0, and then there would be 1, right? So if we are to calculate the sum, it simply means we add all the integers that will be involved within this solution. So we are getting the sum of all the integers satisfying the expression. So if we are saying the critical values are -4 to 2, that means all the values that are within all the integers. Integers, remember, it's either a positive or negative value that is not a decimal. So it has to be a number just like that, a solid number just like that. So if we say in our calculator, we press that -2 minus 2 minus 1 plus 0 plus 1, then this will give us -5, right? So this is the sum of the integers. This is how they expected you to solve this question. So you're simply taking all the integers that are within those critical values and then add them together, and then your solution, you get your solution like that. Okay, so I hope it's quite understandable. Then 2.3, it's a simultaneous equation, right? So here we are dealing with a simultaneous equation. Then guys, I know that this is a kind of unusual because most of the time you don't see simultaneous equations in a form of what you call exponents, right? But then it is still quite easy. Remember, you choose to work with the one that already is that is given in standard form, right? So we can see that y here is the subject of the formula, which makes it easier for us to deal with this side, right? Because already we can see that it's in standard form. So if we have to write this, we'd say 3y is equal to 81 to the exponent of x, and then we'd call this equation 1. Then we have y x squared minus 6x plus 9, and then we'd label this equation number 2, right? So because equation number 2, it's already in standard form, and then we can see that y is the subject of the formula, we can just simply say, let's substitute equation number 2 into equation number 1, right? So what does this mean? It means wherever I say y, I'll just substitute this expression here, right? So I will come to this part, and then I will say x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now, you might argue that this is now becoming a bit complicated, but just bear with me. You'll see what I will do here. Remember, we are working with exponents, right? So I will try to write this 81 in terms of exponents. And mind you, this 81 must be written in the form of this prime factor 3, right? So we know that 81 can be written in the form of 9 to the exponent of 2, but 9 is not a prime factor. So I need to write it in terms of prime factors. So if I say 81 shift fact, then this will give me 3 to the exponent of 4. And then since I have this x, this is 3 to the exponent of 4x, right? Now, why am I doing this? This is 3, this is 3, and this is an equation. In an equation, when the bases are the same, law of exponents. In an equation, when the bases are the same, we drop down the exponents, right? So see how simple it is now. X squared minus 6x plus 9 is equals to 4x. Now, all I can simply do is take this 4x, bring it over to the side, right? So now I will have x squared minus 6x minus 4x plus 9 is equals to 0. So this will give me x squared minus 10x plus 9 is equals to 0. Now, looking for the factors of 9, when you multiply them, they will give you 9. When you add them, they will give you 10. That's obviously 9 and 1. So that's x. Because here we have a positive but negative in the middle term, we know it should be minus minus. So x minus 9, x minus 1. So our solutions are x is equals to 9, or x is equals to 1, right? But then remember, this is solved for x and y simultaneously. So let's not get carried away by finding the x values. We also need to find the y values. So, but then at this point, since you have your y values, you have equation number 2 already in y being the subject of the formula. We can just say for x is equals to 9, then let's substitute in equation number 2. So where there's x, I will put this 9. So just like that. Then now it's just a matter of punching in your calculator and finding the correct answer. So we have 36. Then if we are to write them in coordinate form, that is 9 maps to 36. And then let's check for the other one. So if we have 1, that's 1 square minus 6, 1. And then we have plus 9. So if we punch this in our calculator, that's y is equals to 4. So in coordinate form, that's 1 maps to positive 4. And just like that, guys, we have our solutions. So that was it, guys, for our algebra questions. And then make sure that while you are watching the video, you are trying to solve the questions on your own and then just checking the video to see your progress in terms of answering these questions. And then always remember, guys, one thing to win over this is to start early, practice in your question papers, and you get the feel to see how they ask questions in an exam paper. I always make an analogy to say that if you were to play against Barcelona, you wouldn't go there and practice against Jomo Cosmos. You try to find a team that is at least in the level of Barcelona so that you are well prepared. So that is to say, do not go for questions that are easier and then expect to get good marks in your exam. Start early with practicing your exam questions. And then with all that being said, guys, all the best. And then please subscribe to the channel if you find these videos helpful. Please press that thumbs up button and then invite your friends, share the video, share the link to your friends so that they can continue watching the videos and probably find help.